When we talk about computer programs, you're probably most familiar with programs that have a graphical interface like this one. These programs have a code base and an interface made out of clickable pictures. They make it really intuitive and easy to use a computer, but they're also a lot of extra work to code. If we had to code an interface for every project we do, man, that would slow us down. Programmers have to test their code often as they're writing it to make sure that there are no bugs. So it's really important to have a way to interact with a computer that doesn't rely on coding a graphic interface. But you don't necessarily need a graphical user interface to interact with a computer. In fact, computers existed for about 35 years before the first graphical interface even showed up. So that begs the question, how did they used to do it? Computer science, the golden arena of endless well-paying jobs, needs problem solvers from all backgrounds, but appears surrounded by a thick wall of incomprehensible ones and zeros, self-righteous nerd minions, and endless differential equation nightmares. This video textbook attempts to create an entrance through that wall by teaching programming basics in the language of real people. This video is a lecture covering programming tools and methods. To watch a real-life example in 3 different coding languages, click here. And to listen to this chapter's lecture on computer science beyond programming, click here. Friends, this is the IBM 1620 mainframe, and this is a slightly modern replica. It was really popular in its day, and for good reason too. You could get it as cheap as $85,000, and it was as small as a large refrigerator. But one of the coolest features was that it had what was called a console typewriter. It was an electric typewriter that would type out instructions from the computer and allow you to type commands back. This was amazing. People could talk to computers like they were typing letters. Up to this point, computers used complex systems of tape reels and punch cards to interact with the world around them. Now putting data into a program and getting data back out could all happen from a keyboard. Even after computers became more sophisticated, people found that the concept behind the console typewriter was one of the simplest ways to interact with a computer. The typewriter disappeared when screens became popular, but the interaction between a computer that types to you while you type back has stayed all the way till today. It's useful because you can interact with your code before you have the graphical user interface designed. This makes writing code faster and easier to manage. It also helps you to find bugs early on when they're easy to fix. Modern computers can have several different versions of this console interface. Windows users might be familiar with a program called Command Prompt. That's one example of a console interface. Mac users might be familiar with a program called the terminal. And every Linux user is going to be very familiar with a program of the same name. And those are only a few examples of interacting with a computer through a console. With a few exceptions, everything we do in this course will be done by interacting with a console. Nearly every programming language has a console of its own. They're all a little different, just like every programming language is different. But generally speaking, you can write code that interacts with the console first and then add an interface to it later on. For the rest of this course, we're going to be building console applications. They're small programs that run just in the console. So watch us build the first one in the exercise where we'll show you how to output instructions to the screen and receive input from a user back using 3 different programming languages built in consoles.